Okay, we can put it.
What's going on down there is holidays. People are still, it puts after April last time, put this flag with try to make it more block.
I saw
And
it.
people are, I have video if you want to see it.
People going over.
20 people bringing their coolers and sitting there watching. They're just like, why are you doing this?
So I have another,
There's nothing wrong with
so I think we can add it for the next one.
Carmel cares will pay and manage the project to do the repair services. We have the guy that built it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, just actually just
I
curious
will
about
put
that.
that there. Okay,
So I don't want to.
There's just, I guess there's one
Yeah, so
copy.
here's my suggestion. Let's if you and I just send over and
Alright.
if you let's do that tomorrow. And it's not the plan, and then we can put it on the
Have a more honest
Okay,
discussion.
yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good.
Dale just told me that tomorrow is his regular, every other Friday meeting, 10:30, so I'll come tomorrow. Okay, yeah, okay, sounds good. I was Justin about that. Right, okay. You ready, Yvette? Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order.
Commissioner Burling? Yes. Chair Brzezowski?
Yes?
Commissioner Montmorency?
Yes.
Thank you.
If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, public appearances under the Brown Act, public comment for matters on the agenda must relate to that agenda item, and public comments for matters not on the agenda must relate to the subject matter jurisdiction of this legislative body. Hateful, violent, and threatening speech is impermissible public comment as it disrupts the conduct of the public meeting. This is a warning that if a member of the public attending this meeting remotely violates the Brown Act by failing to comply with these requirements of the Brown Act in the meeting, then the speaker will be muted. Matters of the public are entitled to speak on matters of municipal concern not on the agenda during public appearances. Each person's comment shall be limited to 3 minutes or is otherwise established by the commission. Matters not appearing on the commissioner's agenda will not receive action at this meeting, but may be referred to staff for a future meeting. Persons are not required to give their names, but it is helpful for speakers to state their names so that they may be identified in the minutes of the meeting. We'll move to announcements. Mary, did you have any?
I don't have any announcements.
Okay, thank you. For the consent agenda, items on the consent agenda, oh, I'm sorry. We will do public, public announcements. Public comment. Anybody like to speak? Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Peter Quintanilla. I'm part of the steering committee for the new Urban Forest Management Plan. So what I did this morning is I wanted to see how accurate the tree inventory was. So I took a block
Okay.
and went online to tree keepers. Selected actually this block here, and then looked at all the trees, counted them, and identified them. And then I came to walk the block this morning. And on tree keepers, it says, just a second, there's 78 trees in this block. I counted only 44. That's a big difference from what they've surveyed and what actually, of course, this was done, I guess, a couple years ago or a year ago. So some trees have died and been removed, but from 78 to 44, there's a big difference. Some of the trees were not even identified properly. They called canyon, the holly oak, they call it canyon live oak, and they misidentified the bottle tree. So I just wanted to let you know that not all the blacks, I mean, of course, I just did this block, so that's not saying much, but if the rest of the survey is this badly, accurately identified, then I think we should take a look at more blocks to see how accurate they are.
I've been looking at it, and the species, there are things that need to correct, and I've been auditing it when I first came out, just looking at some of the species, I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a big undertaking to do it, because a lot of it is really, really good. And also, I don't know what the public can see, because there are things there are spots that are not necessarily just tree sites. Some of them are double counted because there's stuff that staff has entered, basically the same tree twice. So you have to filter those through, but I can take a look. But I'm aware of the specific deficiencies, but also the numbers we're using are only the ones put in by Davey, because there are a lot of other things that Sarah put in, that I put in, that are not, they're trees, but they're not part of the inventory, or it could be something, a lot of stuff was counted twice.
Yeah, I think you're right, because some of these trees, they had the same DBH as the one right next to
That's probably what it is. But I'll take a look too.
Well, you're right, it's hard. You can't do the whole survey.
I mean, 11,000, But thank you for your comment.
Okay.
Thank you. Did you have more comment, or was that
No,
it?
that was it.
Okay, so we'll bring that up at the end of the meeting. Thank you very much for your comment. Any other public comments?
Good afternoon, Dale Byrne with Carmel Cares. I thought I'd bring you up to date on the projects that you've approved that we've been working on for the last period of time. I'll try to summarize so we can keep things moving. I'm sure most of the people here know, and most of the public has seen in the Pinecone a couple times now, that the Scenic Outlook project, that was a partnership between the city, Carmel Cares, and the Leadership Carmel Group, is complete. We get a lot of comments. It's been universally positive, which is exciting. That project was 50% funded by Carmel Cares, which was not expected at the beginning, but we're happy to help out. One of the really good benefits of that project is it represents the look and feel of what we're going for with the project I'm going to talk about, basically the widening of the pathway and having it smooth for mobility impaired to not have the stumbling blocks. So I'm really proud of the job we all did together, and it took all three of us to do it. And I'd like to thank Shirley Moon on the Carmel Care side for actively participating on the ground while that project was happening, and Katie Jordan, who did an amazing job as their project manager. Second, last week we finished the refresh of Vista Lobos Park. I don't know if any of you have seen it. Anybody? Go up there and see it. The comments, I was a little concerned because when you take out plants and you put in small plants, sometimes people complain about it, but I haven't had any complaints. Everybody's very happy. trust me, in another 6 months to a year, those ferns that are this big are going to be this big. And it's all native plants. We took out all the invasives, no car, and I did all the removals, 16 truckloads worth. Justin was watching us do it. And I think it's beautiful. They also refreshed the DG, so it was a good learning experience for our team because we haven't done that before. Rather than rip it all out, we sort of did a patch, but it was a serious patch, and it's really nice. It's really smooth, sort of like the Outlook. And there's no tripping hazards. We sort of took it a little bit further down the path where there's some roots, and that came out really nice, Justin, by the way, that one we left.
Dale, can I stop you?
Yes, you can.
So then, I've driven by, but I haven't looked at the DG. So now the benches will be a separate project, right?
I'm going to say that, yeah.
Sorry.
But that's okay. I don't mind being preempted. It was funded $3,000 by a city discretionary grant, so thank you, City of Carmel. Part $3,000 by a Keep America Beautiful grant, and I have to turn in a grant form this month for their Great American Cleanup. It was under that program. And Craven Landscaping gave us some in-kind donations, which was nice of them. And then $11,000 paid for by Carmel Cares donors. We've raised $5,000 of that, and we have another $5,000 or $6,000 to go, but that's fine. Noel and Andy Carr have been maintaining that park for 5 years. And if you've driven by there, Noel's already planted. So he's got about 20% of it is wildflowers. So it's still being done. And he already planted some nice colorful plants along there. So we're excited about that. And hopefully we'll work with Justin on Forest Hill Park at some time to help achieve his vision for that park. This Tuesday, we completed the Ocean Avenue Median project. If I could continue. This is a public-private partnership with the city, designed by Alan Wheat under the direction of Carmel Cares and the city, executed by Tony Trujillo Landscaping and Saul Velasquez Landscaping. We call it the Pollinator Pathway. It's 1,000 feet by 12 feet, so it's like over 3 football fields in length, almost 2,000 native plants and 120 large boulders. It was a 50-50 partnership with the city. We're still working out the accounting with Yvette. I just talked to her about it. But it came out beautiful, and I have not received one negative comment. I don't know about Justin, but it's been universally positive on our side, which is unique in this city, so we're happy about that. Finally, this past Monday, we got the permit after a little bit of wrangling over all kinds of details because it's an important asset for the city. We're going to put another 1,000 feet of old-growth redwood landscape barrier, which was approved by this group. And we're also have another related permit that's going to come out hopefully today or tomorrow to widen the pathway and do some DG as a pilot project for $20,000. So at 13th is where we're going to start, and I'm really excited because it's right by my house, and I've been looking at this for 4 years now. And so in about 2 weeks, if you go down to 13th, you'll see what this whole vision is going to look like. And we're excited about that. It's going to be with Tony Trujillo, the same group that did the last batch, which has been, people go for a walk on the beach now, they tell me, just to look at the fence, which is pretty amazing at Carmel Beach. So that's my update. Thank you very much, and thank you for approving all those projects.
Thank you, Dale. It's great the pollinator pathway was completed last week. I was happy to hear that at City Council.
I just have a question. I've never been at one of these meetings
Sure.
before. I have a question about one of your regulations, but I'm not sure just where it comes up. in this.
Right now, come on up.
My name is Karen Sonnergren, and I've been a 50-year permanent resident of downtown Carmel. And I have a dead oak tree in my backyard. It's going to cost me close to $2,000 to have it removed. And I got a designation by a licensed arborist that it is a dead tree. And then I went to get a permit. $665 for me to remove, at my cost, my own dead tree. There's just no justice in this whatsoever. And apparently it's just a flat rule. You're not taking them individually. I've spoken with the city manager. He kind of agrees that this is something that really needs attention. And so that's why I'd like to bring it to your attention. And I'm pleading with you to change that rule. I don't have that kind of money, and there's no logic to it whatsoever.
Justin, do you want to comment? I think we've...
Yeah,
go ahead.
actually,
Yeah.
we already did change it 3 months ago, but I don't know when it takes effect, but we instituted a new permit fee for fiscal year 24-25 that is now just a tree inspection for a dead tree. You don't need to pay the 600, whatever it is. It's
665.
yeah, I believe it's 195. It's just it's the same fee as a tree inspection. We just say, yep, that is dead. You don't have to pay for the full permit fee, and you get the dead tree permit.
Well, aren't I lucky? I had not heard about that.
That just passed with the new fiscal year budget, so it became into effect on July 1st, so it's not even 2 weeks old. And it was in response actually to residents like yourself that had, were complaining that I'm trying to do the right thing by getting rid of a dead tree, and that in that particular instance, the fee was high.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for coming today. Please come again.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We encourage everybody with dead trees on their property to come forward and help us maintain the forest by proactively removing the dead trees.
Is there any rule about replacing it?
I'll have to look because it all depends on how many trees you have, and I'll come out to your property and we'll take a look.
Thank you. Any other public comments in chambers? No? Then Cindy Lloyd.
Cindy, go ahead.
Thank you. I just had to unmute myself. I just wanted to echo what Dale Byrne said about the pollinator pathway and the medians down Ocean Avenue. Alan Wheat finished the project on Tuesday, and it's absolutely beautiful. There was some comments to me questioning the need for boulders in the medians when they were first put in, and I counseled people. I said, well, just wait until the plants are put in, because the plants will enhance the boulders and the boulders will protect the plants. It's what it has done, it has changed the landscape into something of interest going down the center of Ocean Avenue, rather than just flat expanse of ceanothus and an occasional, other plant that was tired. All the plants in there were so tired from a previous planting. So anyway, it's absolutely beautiful, and it will only get better over time. Additionally, I've been taking care of all the plants at the base of the Memorial Arch for the last 3 years, and I am very excited to announce that I have irrigation in the, in the arch planting pockets, which is for me just fantastic. And Alan gave me some of his leftover native plants, and I am going to be changing the planting in those pockets to weave in native plants that will echo the plants that are in the medians, so that there is some continuity. And I hope nobody minds, but I'm going to take out the bright red geranium, which I put in there a long time ago, and it is such what we call in England a thug. It grows absolutely willy-nilly and needs to be maintained constantly. So the red color will go, and I'm not so sure about the other colors, but I will slowly transition into native so that we can have an all-native pollinator pathway. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. It looks like we have no more public comments. We'll go ahead and move to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine in nature and do not require discussion or independent action. Members of the commission or the public may ask that any items be considered individually for purposes of commission discussion or public comment. Unless that is done, one motion may be used to adopt all the recommended actions. The only item on the consent agenda this meeting is the meeting minutes from our June 13th meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I approve the minutes for whatever day you said.
June 13th. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jerry.
What side do you
Commissioner Burling,
Yes.
Chair Brzezowski,
Yes,
Commissioner Moritzi.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion is passed.
thank you. We'll move on to public hearings. We have one public hearing today. It is to consider the removal of one Monterey pine tree at the southwest corner of San Carlos Street and 11th Avenue. Tree permit 24-141. Justin, would you like to?
Thank you, Chair Brzezowski. This tree, the background is we've got a call from the applicant, Mr. Corey McMills, about a large tree that was impacting his home. So we went through the process and asked him to fill out a tree evaluation so we can go take a look at it. I met him on site and I saw the tree, a very large pine that's growing into the building, and he had cut away his eave several times, but it's in contact with the eave in at least 3 or 4 places. It's right up at the wooden patio, the entry stone steps, and it's making contact with the garage. The large root underneath the driveway is really lifting it and making the pitch of the driveway. The angle of the access to the driveway is really excessive. It's getting to the point where it could lead to bottoming out. And according to the applicant, the windows are out of square and they're not opening as well as they should. So after seeing that, I informed the applicant that it's too healthy of a tree for me to just sign off on. So we would need to be in the avenue of the Forest and Beach Commission, and it would be under his best interest to seek the counsel of a structural engineer. So we got a structural engineer's report, and after looking at that, the report said that the tree is in fact damaging the building, and they said the tree is damaging the home. The tree is very close to the roof eave. The front walkway and staircase have been displaced. The front entry bay window is out of plumb, and the engineer concluded the tree needed to be removed, and they could not work around it. So, my recommendation to you, based on the engineer's report, that the tree be removed. I just don't know how much more you can work around it without taking away the house. It's just so close. That's my presentation. Currently, my numbers were actually wrong because the site map I have isn't an official site map, and I was unaware of the boundaries. There's actually currently 5 upper canopy trees on the property and 6 lower canopy trees. So it's a quite forested lot for a 4,000 square foot lot.
And so your
I was
recommendation is okay.
not recommending replanting on the site.
Okay. So your recommendation is that we approve the request for removal of the tree?
That's my recommendation.
Okay. Got it. Any questions for Justin on the commission? Would the applicant like to speak on behalf of the application?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name's Corey McMills. I'm the applicant, and I think Justin's done a good job, and my structural engineer, one thing he left out a little bit was the foundation is a concrete block CMU foundation, and it's cracking the foundation too. It's a beautiful tree, but I'd like to remove it, but it's up to you.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? We'll bring it back to commission for discussion. Any
Public comment?
Pardon?
When do we go to public comment?
Any public comment? No public comment? Oh. Did you have a comment on this particular tree?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
come on up.
Again, I'd like to thank you for being reasonable. It seems so obvious that you can't ask people to move their houses or change their whole house for something like this, and yet that has been done in the past by the city. And congratulations. And you have to be reasonable. Plus, plant some nice new trees and get rid of these things that are doing a lot of harm. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay. We'll bring it back to the commission. Any questions, discussion?
I don't have any discussion. To me, it's a slam dunk because of the damage to the house. It happens to be a really nice tree, and it's absolutely huge, but it's just grown too big for its spot.
It's a beautiful tree in the wrong place.
let me just go on record too that I always put it in the staff reports for the last couple ones, but I don't know if I've made it on the record that the Municipal Code Section 17.48.070 authorizes the Forest and Beach Commission to approve the removal of trees that are causing, quote, substantial damage to a building that cannot be readily repaired or alleviated on a long-term basis through minor building modifications. And I think that's really the last couple ones we've dealt with. I just think that those trees were so big and, no minor structural engineering could do it. So I just want to put that out there that that's what we're standing on. We're not just making this,
Right,
they're not bringing this willy-nilly.
right. And I guess it's, we should also acknowledge and thank the applicant for our process, which allows us in situations like this to bring it to commission so that the forester alone isn't making a decision, particularly on a tree like this. So thank you for your patience. Mhm. Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'd move we use the forester's recommendation of ending the tree and not asking for further plantings.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second.
Commissioner Burling,
Yes.
Chair Brzezowski,
Yes?
Commissioner Morency.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion is passed.
Thank you. We'll now move on to other orders of business for today. We just have two. The first is our city forester's report for June of 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Wow. Is it 3 yet?
It's not quite.
Just want to, thank you, Corey. Update on everything what we've been got going on for the last month. June was the end of the year, so we really in a push to get the last of our budget money used. In terms of I'm just going to go down. I decided to do it a little differently, breaking it out by what projects we're working on. In terms of the forest management plan, me and Tom, the administrative analyst, have reviewed the draft, and we're still meeting with them to try to correct and get it on the right track. Also, after the last, I don't remember if it was after the last Forest and Beach or after the public meeting, we did actually contact Nicole Nedeff, the consulting ecologist, and have her sign on, because she already has a contract with the city, and we expanded the scope for general services that we can play stuff off of her, and we had a really good conversation with her about this forest overall, and she's going to be a big part of developing the plan going forward. The contractors, the city tree contractors removed 20 dead or hazardous trees and pruned 4 trees under contract task orders. All over the city. We wanted to do a lot of stumps to push out the end of the year, but just with the timing of the 811 underground service alert, it was a little bit of a stretch. So we're going to make a big push to get a lot of stumps done here at the beginning of the year, especially with this new catch-up budget we were granted by City Council. And then Tope's Tree Service, one of our city contractors, performed one very large and one pretty large fuel management and risk reduction projects. In the Mission Trail Nature Preserve, over 40 black acacia trees were removed and their stumps were ground. Nearby areas were masticated to remove invasive Cape ivy, poison hemlock, English ivy, and other invasive plants. So newly cleared, sorry. Greg, how many meadows would you guys create, you think? 6, 5?
They're not really meadows, they're just
Someone called them that, but yeah, like 5. 5 new open spaces were created that are going to be planted between the Friends of the Carmel Forest and Friends of Mission Trail Park are going to get together and replant with native site appropriate species. Also, the week before, towards the end of the month, and I apologize to anyone who lives near Forest Hill Park, Topes did a large dead tree, hazard tree, and fuel management project in Upper Forest Hill Park, cutting down 10 dead or fallen trees and kind of cleaning out a lot of the downed wood from the previous storm and trying to kind of clean up that eastern trail that goes up the hill. And I mean, really, that's a huge project for a different time to clean up the whole park, and that's been on the top of my list. So I've getting quotes from Andrew to really go in there and try to make the rest of that park really clean and usable, because it's been kind of taken over by poison oak and different invasive species. In June, the forestry crews planted 3 trees. They picked up 2 piles of logs from PG&E, pruned 9 trees, removed 5 trees, and removed 7 stumps. That's the other thing, we're kicking it up with the city crews, grinding a lot of stumps. They also did weed eating at Forest Hill Park, around the tennis courts, and along the fire access road easement along 2nd Avenue, Pescadero Canyon. They trimmed up trees and did all the weed eating there. And then Rob's Streets crews installed 2 more of those rubberized tree wells in front of 7th and Dolores on the 7th Avenue side. So it would be nice to put them in everywhere, but it is very expensive. But just want to let you know if anyone wants to see where more of those went in. Dale kind of covered all of his stuff at the beginning because I was trying to summarize it here. They began and I guess now finished the landscape revitalization program at Vista Lobos Park, and they were aiming to finish by 4th of July, but I think that they were pretty close. You guys finished before? Perfect. On the median islands, and
No, actually Tuesday, we couldn't quite.
it was
We were one day away.
almost got it in before the 4th of July. And then, as he stated, the scenic barrier rail project, as well as the widening. We met him down there and came up with some good ideas in terms of the existing irrigation to how we can all work together to make it work for everybody. We took in 28 permits and approved, processed 21. Where am I here? I performed 8 tree evaluations. Approved 21 removals, 5 upper and 16 lower, and required 4 to be replanted, upper and 5 lower. We need to get those numbers back up, especially in terms of the city trees. I've come up with some ideas because some of the lots are really dense, and get the tree back somehow, maybe 2 for 1 on the city trees, but just kind of make sure that our numbers are in line. I actually read a really good article that Tom's been digging through the basement and found a bunch of old out on a limbs, and don't want to embarrass him and say his name too much, but the former city forester said that 4 trees were planted for every 1. Taking into account 1 will be vandalized, 1 might not live, 1 might get ran over accidentally. So you overplant to get what you want. That's the same as general forestry. Is you plant a whole bunch of trees because just the ecology of everything, they're not all going to live. But what else we do? We took in about 170 tickets and processed about right around then. We're pretty even. There's no big disparity in those except for the storms, because it's really hard to take in all those. Pretty much I covered most of the stuff in the first part, so I think that's about what I have. We had a busy month. And any questions or comments?
Does anybody have any comments on Justin's report? I guess I would just also add that I really appreciate in June, one of the things that you worked on was coming up with sort of what do we think the estimated catch-up budget is for the city relative to all of the tree status that's come through the Davie findings. So I just thank you to you and Tom both for working on that. That's
Yeah.
something we were able to share with City Council that we'll add into next month's agenda. I think it would be helpful to share when we have the full commission here to be able to review that and talk about it.
Yeah, actually, I should have put that because it happened before this meeting, and sometimes we do the gap stuff that,
Yeah, but I just think it took some effort, I think, on behalf of
Yes.
both you and Tom to pull that together, and I think that was really very, very helpful
Yeah,
perspective. And I think we've also talked about building a catch-up scorecard. You know, if we're thinking about a 3-year catch-up plan, that's 36 months, and that if we could build some kind of scorecard that we're measuring every month.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
and-
our progress and the contractor's progress
and
against that, that'll be helpful.
I started thinking about it, not just, okay, now we're gonna do it, but now, like you said, now we have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Tom said, we know, you know, again, judging by how accurate but how close the health of the trees are. But, you know, Monterey pines, it's hard not to tell what a Monterey pine is. So we pretty much know that they identified those correctly. We know how many dead and very poor trees there are. So now it's like, it's on us that if something happens, we pretty much have an inkling about it. And I think could be shown in claims. So that's why we have to deal with it now, and we know what it is, and we have to make a plan, take those trees, put them on a map, and start plotting them out.
But I think creating a scorecard that we report on every month
Oh, yeah.
will force the plan and the
I think, yeah,
implementation. Right, so
and
that's
it'll be
the-
part of the report that I bring up. It'll be one extra section, like this is the catch-up.
Right,
The catch-up, what do you call it, review or whatever,
for
every
the
month.
month. Mhm. Useful. Are there anybody like to public comment on the Forester's report? Come on up.
Just a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
The survey.
Can you come on up to the podium? Sure, thank you.
It's me again.
Your name, I'm sorry?
Karen.
Karen?
Karen Sonnergren.
Okay.
The tree survey, I haven't heard anything about that. Is that still being evaluated, or
Oh,
that went out to everybody?
That was completed at the end of last year, but we are always encouraging resident comments about our trees, so
Oh, was there a report on it, though? Was there an
there is,
evaluation?
there is
Oh,
a
I
report
missed
that's
that
online.
completely.
we presented it several times. Actually,
There's a link online, I think.
yeah,
also.
Kelly's has made a really good presentation about it. She's really in tune with this kind of stuff. She does it for a living, and she really summarized everything really well. She actually presented it Tuesday night at council.
Everything I know comes on the Friday newsletter from the city
Yeah.
manager, and I hadn't caught that. Thank you.
We can get a
We'll see if
link
we can find
to
a
you.
link to that section of the council meeting maybe,
Okay.
and we can put it somewhere, because I think it is important for people to see. It's a really good presentation.
Thanks.
Any other comments on the city forester's report today? No? Okay. With that, moving to our next agenda item, where the Public Works Director's report. Thank you for being here, Mary.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioners. So I'm just going to do a quick summary of some of the items that were in the report. I won't go through everything because we've already discussed a lot of them. So kind of just repeating that the resolution was passed by the City Council in June, that the new dead tree removal permit, it will have a fee of $200, or it sounds like it's approximately $200.
Well, it was $195 this year, so I think that's the increase.
Oh, okay, so it's now $200 rather than continuing a charge of what we had as $682 for the live tree removal. And then jumping down to volunteer groups, Leadership Carmel class of 2024 had a graduation ceremony, and there were many members of Public Works and City Hall that also attended that graduating class. Friends of Carmel Forest is putting up signs in vacant tree planting wells and locations where there's a like for like, or a native tree will be placed where a tree was previously removed. And Friends of Mission Trails Nature Preserve, Scott Lonergan and Greg D'Ambrosio They have been working and coordinating with Justin to turn a previously overturned tree stump at Mission Trails Nature Preserver up by Flanders Mansion.
That's done.
Yeah, that's complete. I don't know if you had announced it, but we're just
I
saying,
forgot
okay,
about
that was, yeah, just something that, that it's more of like an educational piece to demonstrate root structure. So that's something that's new up near Flanders. And then I'm going to skip down to under environmental programs. In the North Dune Habitat Restoration Site, we received the report from Denise Duffy and Associates for the final restoration for last fiscal year. I haven't had a chance to review that report yet, but they worked with Joey Canepa to get all of the information about volunteer days and everything into that report, and it looks comprehensive. I did a quick flip through of it, but I need to review the whole thing. At North Dunes, Joey is under contract with the city and helped coordinate many volunteer days with the Garden Club, Me Earth, and 3 Carmel High School student field trip days that happened all in June. She was really busy. And then I am going to skip down to under Wallace Group projects. This is under the CIP projects. Javier Hernandez in our project management portion of Public Works, he's been coordinating the shoreline infrastructure repair project and has sent out a request for proposals for coastal engineering and environmental firms for design and permitting of 2 stair projects on the beach and the 4th Avenue seawall outfall. And those proposals are due back, I believe it's next Wednesday, it's June 17th. And so we will go through the next steps once we receive all those proposals. And then after that, under additional capital improvement projects, we have the Mission Trails Nature Preserve 3 drainage projects that's coming up. We've sent out the notice to proceed, and we're currently under contract with Dudek to do their survey work prior to construction starting. And so that is going to be starting up in 2 weeks. And so we'll see a lot of work going on at Mission Trails Nature Preserve. And then we did start the annual weekend staffing shift to pick up litter at the ocean mostly and do cleanup. So we usually have a public works staff person on the weekends, and it's just usually one person that's on in the morning shift and one in the afternoon. And so that will continue on through the busy summer season. So that concludes my report.
Can I add something in, because I left it off my report, I forgot about. So I left off that the Friends of Carmel Forest led a walk along scenic with a consulting arborist out of the Bay Area, John Leffingwell, that I know from previous work, and it was really good. They talked about the biology and everything of the coastal cypresses, and it was a really, really good time. That I believe that was the 22nd or so, the third weekend of June. Just forgot to put that out there. I just wanted to say that too.
So I have one question. I don't know if you can answer it, Mary, but when they clean up the beach, what do they do about the dead birds?
I think typically the dead birds, yeah, they remove them. I believe they do.
It'd be great, because of course the dogs love to roll in them.
Right. Yeah. I can check and get back to you, but
because there's a couple there right now. Actually.
Oh, are there on the beach?
About 13th and 12th.
And if Cindy is working, they'll usually call animal control to come and get them too. If she's working, if not, then they'll take them.
Okay.
I have a question. I don't know if we'll know the answer to this, but do we ever count the number of people on the beach across a holiday weekend or regular week? I'm just curious if we have any system in place to monitor or measure the human traffic on the beach. That
I haven't heard of a system. I mean, we Yeah, really, yeah, photos and, I mean, we talked to the people that are working the police force and the fire department, you know, to get estimates on how busy things are, but actual someone going and counting, I don't think we've done that, as far as I'm aware.
I don't,
I was just curious because I think I saw more people on the beach over this holiday weekend than I've ever seen ever in my entire time ever in Carmel.
Yeah,
And so I was just curious.
I don't
if
think we do, but that's not a bad idea, because usually we have
I know, I saw.
crews working, just say, go take a picture or something from 13th North or something.
I counted 200.
You counted, oh, okay,
Really?
Yeah, that was a lot. Biggest I've ever seen. It wasn't even a holiday weekend.
right,
So they're out there.
yeah.
They're having fun.
I noticed, Dale, you had a public comment, if you'd like to come up.
Yeah, in reality, birds are picked up all the time. We just put them in a bag. The pelicans, I bring a shovel, put it in a big bag, tie it off, and put it in the trash can. That's the practice. That's really what happens, because otherwise we just sit there. We've all of us have worked on something more sophisticated than that, but it works. And there are a lot. It's it's probably sometimes 6 to 10 a month. And Kelly Francis reports them very efficiently to Rob, and Rob has been really great since we got a system of handling everything on the beach. We really appreciate that.
Do you know what kills them? Can you determine that?
No, but we talk to the people that are concerned about it. We're tied in with all the groups that rescue them. If they're injured, we know how to contact them, and they come down and grab them. That happened with the pelican just a week or two ago. We have enough people on the beach where we usually get pretty fast. Same with seals. Rob's been really good at burying seals, and before it was not that way, so we've got a system fighting. Yeah. It's sad, absolutely.
Any other comments in chambers before we move to Zoom? Okay, come on.
Hi, Greg D'Ambrosio. Would it be possible for you to develop some sort of a concise explanation of the drainage project that's going to happen in Mission Trail and post them at each of the entries? It's something like 11 by 17, big enough that people will.
Sure, I know we do have a state grant that requires notification of the project, and I will check with Javier, who's the project manager on that, and have him put up that information.
Yeah, in the past it's been something very simple that says construction project or something, but nobody seems to be aware of exactly what the benefit is. And that might be something that would be good to post a week or so prior to the project.
Okay, yeah, I'll have him do that, thanks.
Any other comments in chambers? It looks nice. Cindy? Online?
Cindy, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, I just did. For the benefit of those of us who are Zooming in, it would be respectfully appreciated if when somebody has a comment, they come to the podium and speak into the microphone, because the comments coming from the audience are muffled and can't be heard, so that they do get lost for some of us who happen to be at home watching. Thank you very much.
I'll summarize,
thank you,
Cindy,
Cindy,
about the birds, because it is sort of important. The practical aspect of dealing with birds on the beach, simply because of the volume of them, is for one of us to go with a shovel if it's heavy, otherwise just a bag, and we put them in a bag, we seal it up, and we put it in the trash can that's nearest. With seals, we send an email to Rob, and Kelly Francis, who's our beach pickup posse person, has done an excellent job. I actually don't know how she does it so quickly, but she has a good team. And Rob, sometimes if we report at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, by 9 o'clock the next day, he sent a team down and they bury it on the beach. Seals can't be moved. If there's a living animal and it's injured, we have the numbers to call, and we do that quickly. They come down. We get a few Carmel Cares volunteers to sort of cordon off if it's a seal and it's injured, or if it's a pelican, like that happened a couple weeks ago. Surely we get a couple people and we help. Animal control was down there in that case, and she got a nice picture of a blanket around. She actually picked it up in a blanket and took it away. So there's a pretty good system. It's taken us a couple years, but we're all working together as a team. Thanks, Cindy.
Okay, with, it looks like, are there any other public comments? No? Okay. Are there any future agenda items that the commission would like to mention?
I guess.
Oh, come on up.
Greg D'Ambrosio again. Listening to the meeting, a lot of the information that was discussed is about removals of dead trees. What's the score? How many future dead trees are coming out? I was wondering, are you doing some sort of a collection of those locations and trees for future replacement? And what
Yes.
is the city's goal? Because what I heard was there was 20-some trees removed this month and 2 replaced. So that's less than, that's 10%.
Well, and that's kind of what this new plan, which, for better or worse, we're on this road, was looking at canopy coverage, and it's at 36 now, and the goal is to basically keep it where it is. So the goal is 1 for 1, and if we have to augment with more city trees to get there, but realistically, like I said that you said, we know that every tree planted isn't going to live, so we really need to overplant. But the goal is to 1 for 1 until we really get a handle on what the goal, because it was pretty split on what people wanted from what we heard, between more trees, less trees, stay the same, and the guidance seemed to be, keep it where it is. And the trees we remove, we know where they are, and we're working on a process with the contractors to USA it a week and a half before, come cut it down, grind it, and have a planting spot ready to go. And at least where it is, and if it's underneath the power lines and grew weird, plant something better or more appropriate. Because I don't want to not plant pines where pines were, but I don't want to plant pines under power lines, and something that's more appropriate for.
Yeah,
Well, that goes to one of my final comments. The gentleman that had his tree removed, and he talked about how healthy it was and vibrant. Yet we removed that, and he happens to have a significant number of trees. I think you said 11 or something. Well, in that process of allowing that removal, and you're charging $198 or whatever it is, wouldn't it be also something, if you're going to try to keep it at parity 1 for 1, to have that money go towards a tree planting in some other part of town that would replace at least the 1 for 1, not in the same spot, but someplace else?
No,
Don't just walk away from the loss of the tree is what that is just find another place to plant one of those trees to replace it.
Yeah, and we are doing that in terms of the numbers. We still have the number of the tree lost. But yeah, the money would be, we need to, I'm coming into this recently with the in lieu fee that is been used and has been kind of not grandfathered in, but it's been just accepted, but I couldn't find it anywhere. All I could find was the language in the code that says instead of planting a tree, the city forester can, the cost of replacing and planting a tree. So we have to do the math, and I did the math, and it's actually more than what the previous forester was charging. So
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're in the
I'm not into
we're in the
debate. It's just it's a comment for future planning.
correct. And I think I just want to say we're in the future, setting of future agenda items. I will just say that in the Urban Forest Master Plan, the canopy is addressed. And to be clear, next month, if you come back, which would be great, when we present the estimated catch-up budget, you'll see that that anticipates that every tree that comes down, there's a replanted tree. So it's part of the whole cycle. It's not just catching up, and it's comprehensive.
It's the follow-through.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the follow-through is budgeted, so it's included there. Okay, any other comment? Peter, go ahead.
Peter Quintanilla. So just a thought, when you remove a large tree, say 30 by 30 canopy, and you plant a young tree, you're not really replacing the canopy, you're just replacing, in theory, a tree, because it's going to take decades for that young tree to become, replace the actual canopy. So you almost have to, if you're going to replace the canopy, then you have to plant enough trees that actually mirror that canopy.
Okay, so I think just going back to future agenda items, I'd like to say that for the comments by Peter at the beginning of the meeting, I think we should address the tree,
Yeah.
the quality of the tree inventory.
Yeah,
And
I'll try to do
let's just add that as an agenda item and we can
for
figure out the.
eventually. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be ready next month, but eventually.
Well, I think it's important, though, it would be, I think we should ask Davy Resources Group, like, what was the QA, the process they used in building the inventory?
Mhm.
And then also just what we estimate the overlap to be. Because if there is double counting, that would explain the comment this morning, earlier at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah,
But we should at least address that.
I can address that actually. I'll look in it because
Okay.
I can look at because mine has two different colors, green and
Yep.
red, and one is ours, one is Davies.
Okay. That would be, I think that would be
Yeah.
really important so that that tree inventory is a critical component of a lot
Yeah,
of decisions.
it has to be
So-
right.
Okay, thank you. Any other future agenda items? No. With that, I think we will adjourn.
Good.